let us now add some finishing touches to our game. The first thing that I had in mind is adding a needle for our circles. And what I mean by that is we need to take our needle here, and I'm going to name it needle for circle. So circle like this. And I'm going to remove the box collider, so remove component, and also remove the rigid body, and also remove our needle script. And here in the prefabs, create needle for circle. So this is, well, our folder. I'm going to delete this prefab right here that I had. And here we have our needle for circle. What we also need to do is we need to select our needle head and create a tag that's needle head. So create that tag and make sure that this needle has that tag. And I'll simply save it here as a prefab. So now we have our needle circle. And what we can do with this one is we can add them as a child of our circle here. And we can position them right here because we need to have some initial circles, or excuse me, initial needles on our circle to make the game more difficult. So here I can copy and paste it. So I can select this needle and copy and paste it right here. I can, well, change its rotation and simply, well, set it here on the circle. So like this. And again, I can copy and paste this one and also, well, change its rotation and, well, set it to be somewhere here. So change rotation a little bit more and set it to be somewhere here. Copy and paste it again, and you see my point. So you can simply set them wherever you like to be in order to make the game more difficult. So I'm going to copy and paste one more and simply change his rotation to here. And as I said, you can, well, set them. If I run the game now, this is what we have. And this is how can you make the game difficult or not. And we need to create one more script. And here in our scripts folder, that's going to be in our needle scripts, needle movement script, or excuse me, needle head scripts. If I go back, needle head script. And inside of this script, we are simply going to have an onTrigger enter 2D function, which is going to test if we have collided with the needle head. If that's true, then the game is over. And we can use time.timescale to stop the time. If time.timescale is equal to 0, the time stops and our game stops. If the timescale is equal to 1, our game is going to, well, continue again. And we need to attach this script here on our needle head. So drag and drop it on the needle head and hit apply here to apply this for this needle for circle prefab so that we have this, well, right here. And we also need to go here in our prefabs and select our needle prefab and select here the needle head. Make sure you also add the tag needle head and attach this needle head script on it. And what I also did, I have also changed the speed here. So if I go back in the needle movement script, I've changed the speed. So let's say 70F in order just to fire the scripts, or excuse me, fire the needles more fast. And I'm going to use our game manager. So let me just find our game manager and position it right here. And if I run the game now, if we hit, well, one of these needles and we see that the needle is moving too fast, so I'm going to set here, let's say, I don't know, 50. Or you can experiment with the number and see however you want it to, well, however you think looks best. So if I fire this, well, circle now, excuse me, the needle, but if we touch, notice now, if we touch, well, if these two collide, so the needles, they have collided, so now it's game over and our game has stopped, which is this one right here. So this right here that we have. Again, you can experiment with the force. So let's say, I don't know, 30 is for the force because we still see that our needles shoot too fast. We can experiment. So again, you see that we are experimenting. Well, with the speed, you can set the speed at 20, 15, I don't know, however you like it. Again, experiment, see what is good for you, how your game looks like, so on and so forth. Practically, we are done. The last thing that we need to do is we need to remove this button from the scene or set it to be invisible, because we cannot run our game and have this button right here and shoot it like this. What we can do instead, we can take our button, which is the shoot button, and here in its image script, we have this color. So select the color and simply remove the alpha channel, set the alpha channel to be 0. Now, if I run the game, if I shoot it right here, so like this, we see that everything is working. If I touch, well, one of these circles, or excuse me, if the heads of our circles touch, then our game is over. You can also set up levels like this. So you can add more needles, initial needles on the circle. What you can also do, you can change the rotation speed of the circle. So you can pump it up. So let's say at 100, the circle moves faster. If you pump it or set it at 10, the circle moves slower. If you set it at 70, the circle also moves faster. If you set it to be negative, the circle also moves in the different direction. What you can do in the circle script, you can create a coroutine. So you can go here and use circle rotate script, and you can create a coroutine, and that coroutine will change the speed and the rotation of our circle. So you can simply go here, and here I can say I enumerator, and let's say change rotation, so something like this, and I can say yield return new. So let me just type it right. So new, wait for seconds, and let's say 1 second. So every 1 second we are going to change the rotation of our, well, excuse me, the rotation speed of our circle. So here I can say rotation speed is equal to random dot range, let's say from 50 up to 100. And I can also set the rotation speed to be multiplied by -1. So each time it will also change the rotation and change the direction. So here in the awake function, I can say start coroutine. And by the way, a coroutine is, well, how can we program a delayed behavior? So we type this I enumerator, and then we name the coroutine. And here we say yield return, and we are going to wait 1 second before we execute this code. Each time we call this coroutine, we are going to wait 1 second, and after that we are going to execute this code. You can specify here 10 seconds or how much you like, but we are going to wait for the time that we have specified and then execute this code. And this is how we call a coroutine. So simply type start coroutine and then, well, pass it right here, which I have in my other course that I already mentioned. And this is how can we simply, well, start a coroutine, as I said. Before we run this and test it out, what we also need to do is we need to say start coroutine and pass our change rotation coroutine right here, because, well, we want to call it again, and that's why we are doing it. Again, using this I enumerator, this is called a coroutine, and this is used to program a delayed behavior. That's the only difference between a regular function and this function. So we need to return an I enumerator, and we need to have this yield return statement. And here I'm specifying new wait for seconds, and let's say 2 seconds because one is less or very low. And you can specify how many seconds you want, 10, 20, 15, so on and so forth. And here I'm using the rotation speed is equal to random range, and I'm, well, passing, well, a number. What I can do is I can simply use an, well, if else statement. So if our random range is, well, between 0 and 2, if it's greater than 0, then we are going to apply negative random range, and else we are going to apply positive random range. And let's say between 50, not 30, so 50 and 100. And you can also use random range here for wait for seconds to specify that you are going to wait, well, a random time interval instead of 2 seconds. But now I'm not going to do that. And again, this random range is going to return a number between 50 and 100 and assign it in our rotation speed. So if I go back now and I have selected my circle, notice now at its rotation speed, it's going to change each 2 seconds. So now we have negative 72, 76, now we have 53, negative 75. So we see at the circle it's changing. So again, you can, well, experiment with this, set it however you like. And, well, the most beautiful thing about this is that you have all of it here. So you can set here using our game manager how many needles you want in the game. You can use the circle and attach how many needles you want to be an obstacle at the beginning, and that way create levels. So here you can also set the rotation speed and so on and so forth. And in order to, well, simply resave this as a new level or as a new scene, what you can do is you can go here under File, Save Scene As, and let's say Gameplay 2. and go into scenes and save it as gameplay 2. So now we have 2 scenes, but you can have different options. So here you can, well, create 6 needles. In this scene you can create, I don't know, 10 needles, so on and so forth. You get my point, and we practically have finished our game.